Prepare to transform. Whatever life you choose, prepare to be moved in the all-new Nissan Qashqai.
A LISTNR production.
Filling workforce gaps in the Blue Lake City and some petrol-saving tips. Good morning, it's Amy Ross with a Limestone Coast local news update. Cloudy with a chance of showers, we're heading for a top of 14 in Mount Gambier and 14 in Robe. Petrol may be pretty pricey at the moment, but that doesn't mean there aren't simple ways you can't save a few dollars on a tank of fuel around the Limestone Coast. Mark Borlase from the RAA says we're in a fairly unique situation in the southeast.
The southeast is fortunate that Mount Gambier is one of the most competitive country cities that have a fairly healthy market, and ironically you still have people, that you still have towns like Narracourt which are consistently quite high in the cost of their fuel. So you really need a fuel that to reward those people who are selling the cheap fuel.
The state government's spruiking a $24 million upgrade at Mount Gambier Hospital, which will see 8 new beds and an expansion of the emergency department. But focus is now turning to how any new medical positions can be filled amid a shortage in the state. Ian Mackay from Uni SA is confident they'll still be able to provide their close to 100 nursing and midwifery students with an opportunity.
Most of our local students who study here and graduate from our Mount Gambier campus, they usually remain employed locally.
Meantime, the news of 2 new drug and alcohol detox beds at the hospital has been strongly welcomed by Substance Misuse Limestone Coast. Sophie Boucher from SMLC says the beds have been a long time coming.
We knew that was a gap that was in the drug and alcohol sector in the Limestone Coast, and so we did speak to Chris Picton, Minister for Health, before he became Minister for Health, saying this is really what we need in the Limestone Coast and the Mount Gambier Hospital. He agreed, and that's what happens when you become a squeaky wheel.
The Business Council has squashed the misconception that migration is higher than normal amid political debate surrounding the housing supply crisis, saying it's just returning to pre-COVID levels. In a new report pushing for an overhaul to the country's migration system, including 4-year temporary visas and a smoother pathway to permanency for highly skilled workers, Chief Executive Jennifer Westacott says regions like ours are crying out for skilled labour.
They'll also just create the workforce that many people in regional Australia tell me they need. And they, of course, enrich our community. So many people, when I travel around regional Australia, say, we would love people to come and live and work here because it would enrich our community.
And you might not see them around as much anymore, but those free payphones on the street corners around the Limestone Coast are still getting plenty of use, according to Telstra. Regional areas are reportedly making up a large proportion of calls. Telstra's Teresa Corbin says phones are still very necessary, with a noted spike in calls to essential helplines,
including over 12,000 calls to Lifeline, over 12,500 calls to Headspace, nearly 86,000 calls to Centrelink's reporting line, and an additional 30,000 calls to 000 compared to the previous year.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
Yeah.
Our 2 Pioneer MVPs have been named for this year's NBL1 South Comp. Nick Marshall took out the Alan Scott Medal in the men's. In the women's, Mila Goodchild claimed the best sell.
BP Plus. Do business the clever way. Visit bpplus.com.au to find out more.